When Lena signed the papers for the old mansion, the real laughter began. People in the small town had already been talking, but now they felt sure she had lost her mind. The house stood on a quiet hill at the edge of town, surrounded by tall trees and broken iron fencing. Its paint had faded long ago, and cracks ran across the stone walls like old scars. Lena was not from this town originally, but she had lived here long enough to know its people. They were kind in their own way, but they believed in safe choices. Buying a ruined mansion was not a safe choice. It was a joke to them. Some whispered that the house carried bad luck. Others said it was cursed by memories of the past. Lena heard every word, but she chose not to answer. She had saved for years by flipping small houses in nearby areas. Each project taught her patience and strength. When she first saw the mansion, she felt something she could not explain. It was not fear or excitement, but a quiet sense that the house mattered. Lena trusted that feeling more than any advice. On the first morning after the purchase, Lena arrived alone with a backpack and a notebook. The sky was gray, and the air felt heavy. She unlocked the old gate, which opened with a long, tired sound. The path to the front door was covered with leaves and broken stones. Every step reminded her how much work waited ahead. The front door was large and made of thick wood. When Lena pushed it open, dust floated into the air. The inside was silent, as if the house had been holding its breath for years. Light entered through tall windows, revealing empty rooms and peeling walls. The floor creaked under her weight, but it felt strong enough to hold. Lena walked slowly, writing notes as she went. She marked damaged walls, broken stairs, and missing tiles. Still, she could see beauty hidden beneath the decay. The ceiling designs were detailed, and the staircase curved with elegance. This place had once been loved deeply. As she explored the ground floor, Lena noticed how sound traveled strangely through the halls. Her footsteps echoed longer than expected. Sometimes she felt as if someone had just walked past her, but when she turned, the space was empty. She told herself it was only the wind or her imagination. By midday, she reached the second floor. The hallway stretched long and narrow, with several doors on each side. Most rooms were empty, filled only with dust and broken furniture. One small bedroom at the end of the hall caught her attention. The door was half open, and light fell gently inside. When Lena stepped into the room, she felt a sudden stillness. The room was simple, with plain walls and a wooden floor. Against one wall stood a tall wardrobe made of dark wood. It looked old, but not damaged. Its surface was clean, as if someone had wiped it recently. That alone made Lena pause. She walked closer and studied it carefully. The wardrobe was carved with patterns that looked like leaves and symbols she did not recognize. The handles were metal, worn smooth by many hands. Lena placed her hand on one handle and felt a strange warmth. She pulled her hand back quickly. Her heart beat faster, though she did not understand why. Nothing happened. The wardrobe stood quietly, as it had before. Lena took a deep breath and reminded herself that old houses often played tricks on the mind. She wrote a short note in her notebook about the wardrobe and left the room. Still, as she walked away, she felt an invisible pull urging her to return. The feeling stayed with her all day. In the evening, Lena sat on the front steps and watched the sun sink behind the trees. The mansion looked softer in the fading light, less broken and more patient. She thought about the people laughing in town. She wondered if she had made a mistake. Then she remembered the wardrobe and the calm warmth she had felt. That night, Lena locked the house and drove back to her small apartment. Sleep came slowly. She dreamed of long hallways, closed doors, and hands reaching from the past. When she woke, her heart was steady but her mind was full of questions. The next morning, Lena returned with cleaning supplies and tools. She planned to start with small tasks. As she worked, she noticed something odd. Dust seemed to gather everywhere except near the small bedroom. Each time she passed the open door, the air felt clearer. She stood there for a long moment, staring at the wardrobe again. The house was silent, yet it felt alive. Lena did not open it. Not yet. Some part of her felt that the wardrobe was waiting for the right moment. As she left the mansion that day, Lena did not know that buying the house was only the beginning. The laughter from town would soon fade. The mansion had a story buried deep within its walls, and the wardrobe was the key. Lena returned to the mansion early the next morning. The town was still quiet, and a thin fog rested over the hill. As she unlocked the gate, she felt the same strange calm she had felt the first day. The house stood silent, but it no longer felt empty. It felt like it knew her. She began working on the ground floor, cleaning broken glass and sweeping thick layers of dust. Hours passed, and slowly the room started to breathe again. Sunlight reached corners that had not seen light in years. Lena felt proud of the small changes she was making. This was the work she loved. Still, her thoughts kept drifting back to the second floor and the small bedroom. No matter how hard she tried to focus, the image of the dark wooden wardrobe stayed in her mind. It felt unfinished, like a sentence that needed to be completed. By afternoon, Lena could no longer ignore the pull. She climbed the stairs and walked down the long hallway. The air grew cooler with each step. When she reached the small bedroom, she stopped at the doorway. The wardrobe stood exactly where it had been, quiet and steady. Lena stepped inside and closed the door behind her. The room felt different now, heavier and warmer at the same time. She walked toward the wardrobe slowly. Her hands trembled slightly as she reached for the handles. She paused. Lena reminded herself that this was just furniture. Old wood. Old metal. Nothing more. With a deep breath, she pulled the doors open. Inside, the wardrobe was empty. No clothes. No boxes. Just darkness and the smell of aged wood. Lena leaned forward and looked closely. Something did not feel right. The inside seemed deeper than it should be. She stepped back and grabbed a flashlight from her bag. When she shined the light inside, the beam did not stop at the back wall. Instead, it faded into darkness, as if the space continued far beyond the wardrobe itself. Lena felt her breath catch. She reached inside carefully and touched the back panel. Her fingers pressed against it, and the wood moved slightly. There was a hidden door. Her heart raced. Lena pushed gently, and the panel opened inward with a soft sound. Cool air rushed out, carrying the scent of stone and earth. Beyond the wardrobe was a narrow passage leading downward. Lena stood frozen. Every sensible thought told her to close the panel and leave. Yet something stronger urged her forward. This was not fear pulling her in. It was curiosity mixed with a strange sense of belonging. She stepped inside the wardrobe and into the hidden passage. The floor beneath her feet was solid stone. The walls were narrow, forcing her to move slowly. The flashlight revealed steps carved into the rock, leading down into darkness. Lena followed the steps carefully. The air grew colder, and the sounds of the house faded away. After several minutes, the passage opened into a small underground room. The room was simple but clean. A wooden table stood in the center, covered with old papers and books. Shelves lined the walls, filled with jars, tools, and faded photographs. A single lantern hung from the ceiling, though it was unlit. Lena walked forward, her steps echoing softly. She picked up one of the photographs. It showed a woman standing in front of the mansion, smiling gently at the camera. The woman looked familiar. Lena felt a sudden shock. The face in the photograph looked like her. Not exactly the same, but close enough to make her heart pound. The eyes were nearly identical. She set the photograph down and searched through the papers. Many of them were journals written in neat handwriting. Lena opened one and began to read. The journals belonged to a woman named Mara. She had lived in the mansion many years ago. The pages told stories of restoring the house, of loving its quiet strength, and of hiding something precious beneath it. Mara wrote about protecting knowledge that others wanted to destroy. She wrote about choosing one person in the future who would find the wardrobe and understand its purpose. Lena felt overwhelmed. The words felt personal, as if they were written for her alone. She read page after page, learning about secret rooms, hidden paths, and a promise to keep the truth safe. As Lena read, she began to understand. This was not just an old mansion. It was a place meant to protect something important. And somehow, Lena was connected to it. She sat at the table for a long time, absorbing everything. The laughter from town felt distant now. None of those people knew what lay beneath their feet. None of them understood the value of what Lena had found. When Lena finally climbed back up through the passage, the sky outside had darkened. She closed the hidden panel and stepped out of the wardrobe, her mind racing. She locked the mansion that night with new purpose. This was no longer just a house to flip. It was a responsibility. The wardrobe had revealed its first secret, but Lena sensed there was more waiting to be uncovered. Lena did not sleep much that night. Her mind stayed awake, turning over every detail she had seen beneath the mansion. The hidden room. The journals. The face in the photograph that looked so much like her own. Morning arrived quietly, but Lena felt as if her life had shifted in a deep and lasting way. She returned to the mansion before sunrise. The hill was still covered in soft light, and the trees stood motionless. Lena unlocked the door and stepped inside with steady purpose. This time, the house felt welcoming, almost relieved that she had come back. She went straight to the small bedroom. The wardrobe stood silently, as if it had never moved. Lena opened it and stepped into the passage again, careful and calm. The hidden room greeted her with the same cool air and quiet presence. Lena began reading more of Mara's journals. Each page revealed pieces of a life filled with patience, learning, and quiet courage. Mara had been a restorer like Lena. She believed old places held wisdom and deserved care rather than destruction. Mara wrote about people who wanted the mansion torn down. They believed anything old had no value. To protect what she had discovered, Mara built the hidden room and sealed it behind the wardrobe. She trusted time to choose the right person. As Lena read, she noticed small notes written in the margins. Some mentioned family. Others spoke of a child sent away for safety. Lena felt her chest tighten. She had grown up without knowing much about her past. Her parents had died when she was young, leaving many questions unanswered. Lena found another photograph tucked between the pages. It showed a small child standing beside Mara. The child had the same eyes Lena saw every day in the mirror. Her hands shook as she held the photo. Suddenly, things began to make sense. Lena realized that this mansion was not only connected to her work, but to her blood. Mara was her grandmother. The journals were her voice reaching across time. Lena sat quietly, letting the truth settle. She felt sadness for the lost years, but also gratitude. Mara had trusted her. She had believed Lena would find this place when the time was right. After hours of reading, Lena explored the hidden room more carefully. She noticed symbols carved into the stone walls. They matched the patterns on the wardrobe. These were signs of protection and guidance, meant to keep knowledge safe. On one shelf, Lena found a wooden box. Inside were letters addressed to her, written years before she was born. Mara had guessed the future well. She wrote about choosing kindness over fear and patience over haste. One letter explained why the town believed the mansion was worthless. Mara had allowed the rumors to spread so no one would look too closely. Laughter was a shield. It kept danger away. Lena smiled sadly at that. The same laughter that once hurt her now felt like proof that the plan had worked. Later that day, Lena returned upstairs. She opened windows and let fresh air fill the mansion. The house felt lighter, as if it approved of her understanding. She began fixing small things, tightening hinges, cleaning walls, restoring beauty piece by piece. Neighbors passed by the hill and saw lights on inside. Some paused, confused. Others shook their heads. They still believed Lena was wasting her time. But Lena no longer cared. She knew the true worth of the place. She was not just flipping a mansion. She was continuing a legacy. As evening came, Lena stood in the hallway and looked at the wardrobe. It no longer felt mysterious or heavy. It felt familiar. Like family. She placed her hand on its surface and whispered a quiet promise. She would protect the mansion. She would honor the past. And she would decide carefully how the truth should be shared. Outside, the town settled into night. Inside the mansion, a story long hidden was finally alive again. The wardrobe had revealed more than a secret passage. It had revealed who Lena truly was. And deep within the house, more answers waited, ready for the right moment to be found. The next few weeks changed everything for Lena. Each morning she arrived at the mansion with clear purpose. She no longer worked only with plans and tools. She worked with memory and meaning. Every wall she cleaned felt like a quiet conversation with the past. Lena began restoring the mansion slowly and carefully. She fixed broken windows and repaired loose boards. She cleaned the stone floors and brought light back into dark corners. The house responded in small ways. The air felt warmer. The silence felt peaceful instead of heavy. The wardrobe remained untouched most days. Lena did not need to open it often anymore. Knowing what it guarded was enough. Still, she visited the hidden room regularly to read more of Mara's journals and letters. One journal spoke about knowledge stored not only in books but in people. Mara believed wisdom should live through actions rather than objects. She wrote that the mansion itself was a teacher. Those who listened would learn patience, respect, and care. Lena understood this deeply. She had always believed houses carried the stories of those who lived within them. Now she knew that belief came from her grandmother. As work continued, the town began to notice changes. The broken windows were gone. The gate stood straight again. At night, warm light glowed from the windows of the mansion on the hill. People stopped laughing. Instead, they whispered with curiosity. Some wondered if Lena had found hidden wealth. Others believed she was trying to prove them wrong. No one guessed the truth. One afternoon, an older neighbor named Paul walked up the hill. He had lived in the town all his life. He stood quietly by the gate as Lena worked in the yard. He told Lena that he remembered the mansion when he was young. He remembered Mara. He said she was kind but private. She had helped many people without asking for praise. Lena listened carefully. Paul spoke of rumors that had spread long ago. Stories of secrets and strange rooms. Lena realized Mara had been successful in hiding the truth, even from those who lived nearby. Paul looked at the mansion with thoughtful eyes and said it was good to see life return to the place. Lena thanked him. She did not offer more information. Some things were not ready to be shared. Inside the hidden room, Lena found a final journal she had not read before. It was sealed with care. When she opened it, she found plans not for hiding but for the future. Mara had written about opening the mansion one day as a place of learning. A place where people could restore old homes, learn craftsmanship, and respect history. She believed saving the past helped people build better futures. Lena felt tears rise, not from sadness but from purpose. This was more than a house to flip. This was a vision meant to continue. That night, Lena made a decision. She would not sell the mansion. She would restore it fully and transform it into a place of teaching and care, just as Mara had dreamed. The next day, Lena announced plans to restore the mansion publicly. She spoke calmly and clearly. Some people were surprised. Others were unsure. But a few offered help. Slowly, trust replaced doubt. People volunteered skills. Some helped repair wood. Others cleaned stone. The mansion became a place where hands worked together quietly and honestly. Through it all, Lena guarded the wardrobe and the hidden room. The journals and letters remained protected. The deeper knowledge was not meant for everyone. It was meant for those who respected it. One evening, as the sun set, Lena stood alone in the main hall. The mansion felt whole in a way it never had before. The laughter that once followed her choice now felt distant and unimportant. She placed her hand on the wall and felt steady pride. She had honored her grandmother without ever needing to speak her name aloud. The wardrobe remained where it had always been. Silent. Patient. Its secret was safe. And Lena knew that when the time came, the mansion would guide the next person, just as it had guided her. Months passed, and the mansion no longer looked forgotten. The walls stood strong, the windows shone with clean glass, and the garden slowly returned to life. Flowers bloomed where weeds once ruled. The house on the hill no longer felt like a mistake. It felt like a promise kept. Lena moved through the mansion with confidence and care. Every room carried balance between the old and the new. She restored without erasing. She repaired without removing memory. Visitors often said the house felt calm, even if they could not explain why. Word spread beyond the town. People interested in restoration began to visit. Some wanted to learn skills. Others simply wanted to understand how such a broken place had been brought back with such respect. Lena welcomed them kindly, guiding them through the halls and sharing lessons she had learned through work and patience. She never spoke about the wardrobe or the hidden room. Not because she feared discovery, but because she understood the weight of knowledge. Some truths needed silence to stay strong. One afternoon, a young woman named Nora arrived. She had tired eyes but curious hands. She spoke softly about wanting to learn how to restore old homes rather than tear them down. Lena saw something familiar in her. Lena allowed Nor to help with small tasks. She watched how Nor treated old wood gently and listened carefully when the house spoke through small signs. Lena felt a quiet approval grow within her. As weeks passed, Nor returned often. She worked hard without seeking praise. She respected the mansion, just as Lena had. One evening, Lena stood in the hallway and noticed Nor staring at the wardrobe. Lena watched silently. She remembered her own first feeling. The quiet pull. The sense of belonging. That night, Lena returned to the hidden room and opened Mara's final letter once more. It spoke of trusting intuition and allowing the house to guide the future. Lena felt ready. The next morning, Lena invited Nor into the small bedroom. She did not explain everything. She only asked Nor if she felt something about the wardrobe. Nor nodded, unsure but honest. Lena opened the doors and revealed the hidden passage. Nor gasped softly, not in fear, but in respect. Together, they stepped inside. In the hidden room, Lena shared Mara's story. She spoke of protection, patience, and purpose. Nor listened without interruption. She understood the responsibility being offered. Lena did not ask Nor to take over. She only asked her to learn. To carry respect forward. To one day decide wisely. Outside, the town gathered for the opening of the mansion as a learning house. People walked through halls once mocked and laughed at. Now they spoke quietly, touched by the care in every detail. The laughter that once followed Lena's choice had vanished. In its place stood admiration and understanding. As the sun set, Lena stood at the entrance and watched people leave with thoughtful expressions. She felt peace. She had not flipped a house. She had restored a legacy. That night, Lena locked the mansion and walked up the hill alone. She looked back once. The house stood strong beneath the stars. The wardrobe remained inside, patient as always. Its secret lived on, not hidden by fear, but protected by wisdom. And the mansion waited calmly, ready to guide the next chapter when the time was right.